So welcome to ProfileTree TV, and today we're joined by David Mora, and we're going to talk about tourism. So David, thank you very much for taking time out to talk to us today. You wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. Well, I've been working in tourism for my entire career. I studied tourism in my hometown up in the north in Spain, and I kept on learning about tourism, and I recently started my PhD studies in also in tourism. So it's my, let's say, it's my passion and it's my work at the same time here in Spain, and also sometimes involves international travels.
Incredible. And how did you become then so interested in tourism? It's become your career now.
Well, I don't actually recall because it's a long time ago already, but I think at the beginning it was more, I was interested in foreign languages. Part of my relatives and friends were studying and traveling abroad very often. So that somehow, I don't know, intrigued me and attracted me a lot. And when I was choosing, I was picking different careers. I picked this one, the tourism path, and back then it was just a 3-year degree. Now it's a 4 years degree. So I don't know, it seemed to me an interesting opportunity, and well, I think I don't regret it at all.
Amazing, excellent, and again, what an amazing career to be involved in. You know, promoting your home country and experiences that people always tend to enjoy, no matter where they're in the world. When you're traveling, it's what an amazing industry. So, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about your own role as a tourism consultant, so what is that involved, and what do you actually do?
Well, at the beginning, I started working as many of the tourism students, working as a front desk agent. One hotel, a 5-star hotel in my hometown, Bilbao, in the Basque Country, in the northern area of Spain. After 2 years, I decided to enroll in a master's degree in tourism management. And that gave me a much broader scope of the tourism industry. I noticed that it's not just about travel agencies and hotels, but there were many other roles that you could take. So I applied for a grant by the national government, by the Spanish Tourist Board, that is called Tour España, Tour Spain, and I got it. And I moved to Germany and then Poland to work as a representative for Spain in Poland for the Polish market, and that was for almost 2 years. And when I decided to move back to Spain, and I don't know, I don't recall how I found out about the consultancy role, but seemed to me very interesting, very dynamic, and so I applied to different consultancy agencies here in Spain, and I got one job as a junior consultant in one, let's say, boutique consultancy in Barcelona, and that's when my current career as a consultant started back in 1999, and during these already 18 years, I worked mainly for public institutions. I would say around 90% of my projects so far were hired by public institutions. Could be municipalities, counties, or what we have provinces or regional governments, and even national governments. And the most typical project that I developed was a strategic plans for tourist destinations. Even though I have done other things, other stuff, but that's the most usual project that I perform.
Incredible. Sounds very interesting. And again, we're starting to think of tourism and organizations and businesses more like maybe traditional businesses where, as you say, they have strategic plans and need to be run more like a a business to attract as many people as possible. So it's, and tell people and get the word out there. So it's very interesting that you're involved in that. And obviously Spain has such a rich heritage, and I'm thinking of the music as well in particular. So do you think music and tourism is something that and culture should be merged or thought of as one?
Well, I think both sides have been merging for some decades so far. Especially you talking from the United Kingdom, I would say maybe the birthplace of pop music. You have cities such as, of course, London, but also Liverpool, for example. Those can be already called as music cities. Then you also have Scotland, like Glasgow area, also very well known, and then even Northern Ireland. I know that some famous musicians were born in Northern Ireland. So from the United Kingdom, I'm sure you fully understand the bond between traveling somewhere to see your most favorite singer. And in Spain, of course, we have a very, let's say, good climate, and that also helps us to promote Spain as a music destination, especially those festivals that take place in along the seaside during the summertime, and well, most of them are really packed with British youngsters coming to watch their favorite groups playing along. So it's one of the, I wouldn't say it's a mass segment, but it's a growing one. Like for example, film tourism. So we are trying to diversify our interests and our resources, not focusing just on sun and sea, but trying to attract other types of visitors who are more interested into culture, heritage, food, who maybe won't concentrate on the seaside, which is already too packed, and move to the hinterland, maybe go to the cities and try to spread the flows into different areas of the country.
Amazing. And what projects would you be interested, or sorry, working on at the moment? Is there projects that you're involved in at the moment? And you have your own organization. Is that how you run your tourism consultancy?
Well, currently I'm a freelance consultant. I've been working for different companies. First, when I was living in Barcelona, and then around 14 years ago when I moved to Madrid. So I worked for more or less like 3-4 different companies, and now I went solo. And even though sometimes it's me who got hired, sometimes I got hired by other companies who, for example, who presented a bid for an international tender, and they need somebody who more or less fits in my profile. So now I'm working on 2 strategic plans for 2 municipalities, one in the north and another one in close to Valencia, which is called Gandia. For example, it's a sun and sea destination, but almost I would say 85% of the visitors are national, and they want to attract more international visitors. Wow. So that's one of the challenges, and very focused on sun and sea. And now they want to diversify and reposition themselves as a sports destination, for example, because of the good climate. I also teach very often in different business schools and universities, everything travel related. And tomorrow actually have a meeting in Toledo, which is also one of the great heritage cities we have here in Spain. We are developing like a regional Paradores chain. I don't know if you know that we have Paradores is the national hotel chain we have here in Spain. Some of these hotels are located in monasteries and old palaces. Wow. So it's very, very appealing, very attractive, especially for international travelers. It's also a way of putting in value old buildings, which otherwise, I don't know, would have been completely destroyed. So now in the area of Castilla-La Mancha, This is the area with where Don Quixote uh, uh, were doing his adventures. So in that area, in that regional community, they want to deploy that chain of boutique heritage hotels, and I'm working with them to write down the scheme and picking the right hotels. And looks like we are going to be able to present it in at Fitur. It's the International Tourism Trade Fair that it's upcoming now in January 23rd. It's starting, and I hope we will be able to already there. So these are the 3-4 main projects that I'm working on currently.
Sounds incredible, absolutely incredible.
Mm.
So, wow, and someday I hope to get a chance to experience these boutique hotels. So on my list, a new thing to add. So obviously Spain. You know, when we think of tourism, we think of Spain, and here in Northern Ireland, we're trying to develop our own local tourism market quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have any advice for countries or even organizations in smaller locations that might not have a traditional link with tourism, how they might be able to develop out their tourism?
An advantage. You can learn out of good and bad experience from other areas, and maybe from the point of view of Northern Ireland, is not um, say country that you could imitate because you have different resources. But yeah, there are some bad practices to learn from. And currently in Spain, we are not actually, I think we are not marketing the country, but trying to manage the tourism activity, because I think we already surpassed the carrying capacity of some of our destinations. So we have way too many tourists in specific places, and then we have little tourists in other areas. So we are trying to persuade them to go to the other areas that are not so visited. So trying to balance a little the tourism activity. So that's why we are managing, and also we rely too much on just 3 markets, which are United Kingdom, France, and Germany. So this could also be a suggestion: try to diversify as much as possible the outbound markets to Northern Ireland, in order not to rely too much on England, for example, or maybe Republic of Ireland, or some other, I don't know, maybe the Scandinavian countries, so that you have at least, let's say, a broader variety of outbound markets. Also, I think it's very important to engage the local community. In which path, which is the roadmap for tourism for the country, to avoid frictions between the visitors, the industry, and the local community. Because if the local community, especially those who have no relationship with tourism, may see it as an invasion, as a let's say not desired, undesired impact, and these also generate sometimes bad image, like what we are suffering, for example, in Barcelona, with some problems between tourists and residents. I think it's also very important to generate a sense of place. What is Northern Ireland? What is Northern Ireland different to Republic of Ireland? Is it similar to Great Britain? It's what's special about Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
That sense of place, I think, is what people are really looking for when we travel. We have so many, that wide array of destinations worldwide. Why should it go to Northern Ireland? What's special? What's in it for me? Let's say. And actually, I was checking the website first. I was checking the website from United Kingdom Tourism, and there I would say I think there's room for improvement for Northern Ireland, because there's a great lack of information about Northern Ireland, and it's mostly about Belfast, and that's it. So I couldn't find more information about the country. Then I went to the other website, the Discovery Northern Ireland, and that one I liked, actually, I have to say, because it was there's a lot of information, but very specific and well structured. So, for example, try to promote that website, and also from the Spanish point of view, even though we are now the biggest outbound market in Europe, even though growing, we have to know what Northern Ireland is, and let me put it this way, where Northern Ireland is actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are hearing a lot about Northern Ireland currently because of Brexit.
Yay!
Yes, but I'm
Okay.
sure that's not the type of news that you want to
No,
get.
no.
But maybe you can now. It's maybe the current situation with Brexit is a moment to say, okay, this is where we are. This is who we are. So first of all, is let people know that Northern Ireland exists. That all the problems with terrorism passed, and there is a new modern society. And I was checking on the different resources, and I have to say I really like that website because it was very, very meaningful, very useful, with very specific proposals for experiences in the different counties. So I really liked it. But I can say the same about the website from the United Kingdom. First of all, because they just talk about Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's hard for us to understand what is England, what is Great Britain, what's United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland, is it Ireland? Is it in? So
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
also have to deliver that message.
Yeah, and to be honest, to be frank, people here have a problem with understanding who and where we are. So we definitely something to sort out. But amazing feedback, and wow! So I can hear the wealth of experience coming through. So some really good ideas, and we're talking about diversification and strategy. So again, it's incredible how tourism has been thought of and guided moving forward. So really appreciate your thoughts on that. And do you think governments then can actually support tourism growth?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how it works in the United Kingdom. If then the Northern Irish government have the competencies to draft their own policy, because as it works here in Spain, we have 17 regional governments, and it's the regional government who has the right to design its own tourism policy. It's not the national government. So the national government actually just focuses on international promotion and maybe some broad topics like sustainability, quality schemes and stuff. So it's Madrid, or it's Catalonia, or it's the Basque Country, or it's Andalusia who designs its own roadmap. So I don't know how it works in Northern Ireland, if you have the right to take your own decisions. But of course, first, for example, we can speak about air taxes. If you have the chance to lower a little the air taxes, it's easier for airlines to travel there, and that's, of course, you're an island, so people will go there by plane. So if it's easier for airlines to be based on Belfast Airport or the airports, it will be easier for us from Madrid or from Barcelona to travel to Belfast. And yeah, why not? Why not Belfast? And even not just as a leisure trip, but also as a company trip, like incentive, meeting. I know, for example, that Glasgow, even though it's not the prettiest city in the globe, but they have a lot of meetings and that type of travelers, like professional travelers who normally have a higher purchase power and expenditure. Of course, the country should have its own roadmap, its own strategic plan in which everyone should be involved. The government should be capable of engaging local community or every stakeholders in order to have a common goal. This is where we go, and even though the government changes, we are focused for the next 20 years, and this is where we want to go, and this is where we want to get. Of course, dialogue with the private sector, with the different associations like hotels, travel agencies, and also tourism activities. It's common to build that trust among the different stakeholders in order to also to pick those common goals. And I think it's also interesting to get to, inform the local community, the Northern Irish population about tourism. The tourism is it's a means of development. It's not an enemy. is not a threat, so that everyone engages somehow in the tourism activity. When you go to a new country and you see that people is friendly, that they are trying to help you out, that also gives you the feeling of it's a welcoming country, and then you will be more keen to recommend that country, that city to your fellow colleagues and relatives and friends. And still we see, even though it's TripAdvisor and Google reviews and blah blah blah, still what your friends, your relatives and your colleagues tell you about their own trips, that's what motivates you more and influences you more. So those people who are already traveling to Northern Ireland, those are the treasure you have to take care of, so that when they come back to different countries in Europe or the US, they recommend Northern Ireland as a off the beaten track destination, somewhere to go.
Incredible. And what would you recommend then as the important or key aspects in creating a good tourist environment?
Well, that also depends on the segments that you will be working on. I saw, for example, on the website from the Discovery Northern Ireland, for example, you are promoting the Game of Thrones resources. So someone who is traveling to Northern Ireland to visit Game of Thrones resources, of course, he's expecting or she's expecting decoration about the TV show and that type of maybe theme hotels and themed restaurants. Somebody who's looking more for heritage, then that museums, castles, the different resources are open for tourism, that they have decent open hours, that you will find information in your different languages. For example, if I go to Northern Ireland to learn English, the schools are ready to welcome international travelers, that it's easy to find accommodation. And then, of course, the prices. I know for you it's difficult because you have the pound, but at the same time, on the other side of the border, you have the euro. So when we go there, we have to exchange euros into pounds. That it's a con. That's not good, because Europeans, we are used to travel around the continent with the same currency. That doesn't help. But keeping prices, I wouldn't say low, because you have to make a profit out of the tourism activity, but try to control prices. There are certain destinations in Europe, for example, Switzerland, which have great resources, but people don't go there because it's way too expensive. And it has a double effect. If tourism increases prices, then local community will be pissed off tourism activity. So I think it's important for the national government to try to have this dialogue with the tourism industry, with hotels, mainly with hotels and restaurants, and try to control a little the prices, because it has a very negative effect. It's a vicious circle of more tourists increases prices, and then local community are angry, and then tourists are going to notice that they are angry, and then they will stop going to Northern Ireland. So I think prices, it's one key aspect of the competitiveness of a tourist destination.
Amazing. And talking to yourself and listening to all of the advice and thoughts, it makes me realize more and more how complex tourism can be. Getting it right, and you definitely need to know what you're doing, because it probably takes years to get the positioning right for a tourist attraction or a tourist economy or town. So I do understand why you spend so much time invested in these strategies that you work on. So really, really interesting. So if anyone listening to this has got any questions or would like to reach out and connect with you and maybe get some advice and help, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, of course, I'm open to any communications, any question that you may have, your audience may have. They will find me on different social networks, but I would say mainly on Twitter. My handle is David _Mora, Mora. And then they could also check my blog, Emoturismo. It's turismo.com. There they can drop me a message. I'm also on other social network, but I would say Twitter and the blog, and there they can leave me a message, or they also have there my email address. So I'm always open to discuss about tourism. It's my passion, and it's a pity I haven't been to Northern Ireland yet, but I'm sure I will definitely go to your country.
100% more than welcome, and look forward to taking you on a private tour around Belfast in the north here. And just on your blog, just to share, what would people find? They'll find content around tourism?
Mm-hmm. Well, first I have to say in the first place that it's most of the content is written in Spanish. So just a few posts. It's one of my challenges. Is one of my commitments for the future to write more in English. But most of my audience are in Latin America, and of course in Spain. So it would be maybe more complicated for them to understand English. But it's mostly it's trends, tourism trends in general, sometimes linked with technology and online marketing. And it's especially focused on how to manage destinations from, let's say, sustainable point of view. Sometimes I also speak about specific niches like the music tourism or sports tourism or wine tourism, food tourism. So it's I think it's quite varied, especially for those who are interested in the tourism industry. I think it's great for tourism students because I provide a lot of information, updated information about the tourism industry, but always from, let's say, more the focus on destinations rather than specific in private industries such as hotels or agencies and stuff.
Incredible. And we cheat. We use Google Translate a lot here, so we cheat a lot. So again, David, thank you very much for your time today. It was incredible, and for passing on some of your knowledge. And we look forward to talking again in the near future. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity. I wish your audience a very great day.
Brilliant. And we have the links, obviously, to your Twitter and your website down below here, so people can just click and obviously click through and engage with you as well. And
thank you very much for that.
Brilliant. And thank you very much for watching this video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It's Kieran from ProfileTree, the content marketing agency. And don't forget to tune in for tomorrow's video, where we continue on our tourism journey, talking to more consultants and experts like David. So thank you again.